Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to give you all a little bit of information today about LBW's Industrial Electronics program. We do have the electronics program on, of course, the Greenville campus and the Opp campus. That's where I'm at today, and actually one of the MacArthur classrooms, so you can kind of see some of our backgrounds of what one of our classrooms looks like. We actually have the dual enrollment where students can begin in the 10th grade, 10th, 11th, and 12th. We do have a short certificate that consists of 8 courses that a dual enrollment student can only, if they can only come in the fall and springs, maybe they're not available in the summer or have other obligations or can't drive just yet or anything like those scenarios that prevents them from coming in the summer, they can achieve that short certificate in 2 years or 2 falls and 2 springs. If they start in the 10th grade, of course, there's more classes that they will be able to take for their 3rd year. So they can continue on working towards their actual associate's degree in electronics by coming their 3rd year if they're old enough to want to keep going. And after that, but now they are also, of course, they can start any semester. A senior can start for their first time just as easy as starting in the 10th grade. These summers are also available if they are able to drive or have a way to get there. The summer classes, we generally schedule summer classes so that they're not coinciding against the plan of the spring and fall courses. That would actually be taking courses towards the actual associate's degree. Now we do actually, it's not on the Greenville campus just yet. We're still kind of working on getting a few other options. Within the electronics degree, there is an ACR option that consists of 2 short certificates, 4 classes apiece that are available on rotation in the summers. But right now they're only on the Opp campus. We hope to have that available one day in the near future at Greenville also, but that is something that is available currently on the Opp campus for a high school student that maybe wants to pursue the ACR options. As far as to give kids an answer as to why they might want to choose industrial electronics, first question I always ask anyone is, well, do you like working inside or outside? And everyone has a different opinion, and that may change in time. The one big advantage of this program is you can actually change your entire working conditions, habits, anything associated with it without having to go back and learn a new trade. There are plenty of opportunities. Just for example, right there in the Greenville area, it's not too far up the road to Hyundai. We actually have a lot of students that work at Hyundai, especially the ones that prefer working with automation or robotics. So they're inside most of the day, or about all the time, even working night shifts, varieties of different shift opportunities that they have. The other side of that, coastal forestry products, it's not too far from there. Most of their work is going to be outside. So, it all depends on what the personality is of the person and what they enjoy doing. Both are still involved in the manufacturing processes. Both are actually very high tech. It's amazing to me the technology that's in the wood industry today, how fast it can process. A tree can come up and they can identify how many boards they can get out of it and make a decision, go to cutting it fully automatic systems on it. So there is a lot of high-end technology in places that people often overlook. Montgomery Technology, there in Greenville, they have a variety of different positions available all along that actually they actually allow a lot of the technicians to travel a little bit at times. So young person that's wanting to get out and see different things, that's a great place to work to give them some opportunities to go see a few other places. And of course, we have several government contractors that are constantly hiring our students. Some of the requirements on some of the government contractors is to have an associate's degree to work as a technician. We're one of the schools that do provide that. I know Eglin Air Force Base is one of the ones that specifically only hire technicians from LBW or Pensacola State Junior College because of offering the associate's degree in electronics. So that's kind of one of the things to always kind of consider if there's someone looking for that. During the time, while attending also as a dual enrollment student in electronics, student can go ahead and get a science, math, English 101, some general ed courses that are going along with their degree, towards the degree, and maybe able to transfer those to another bachelor's program or something later on in the future. So they can actually go ahead and start achieving those. The course consists of, for the electronics degree, there's actually 19 core electronics courses, and there's 8 general ed requirement courses. As far as total number of courses, total of 76 credit hours. The ACR program is, to give you an idea, is only about 7 courses totally different from the industrial electronics. So if someone, maybe they finished the electronics degree and decide later on they would like to pick up some ACR stuff, it's not that far away from just a couple of semesters being able to get a second degree. That probably would take them longer than 3 years during high school, but it's actually also something they can have that's kind of stackable. As far as certification and stuff, in our program, we have a variety of certifications. Generally, all students in the short certificate options will get a DC and AC ETA certifications. That's something they do have that they can put on the resumes. We're also affiliated with ETA as to if they want to go when they complete the program. If there are several other courses, that's something they want to do kind of later on or close to graduation, is to become a full ETA certified technician. We have quite a few that utilize that. That pretty much depends on where their targeted job location is at as to what's the best certifications to have. I know Fort Rooker is one that actually gives them a lot of credit for that. I believe it's about a $5 an hour raise just for having that certification. So that is kind of in favors of anyone that's wanting to go into the more in the heavier electronics, especially in communication side of it. The other alternatives to that, of course, we do OSHA. We have OSHA 10 in construction and OSHA 10 in general industry. That is something that's recognized nationwide. So that's some options that they can get to add on to have a resume as soon as they get out. And that's kind of just a few of the main certifications we have. Of course, we offer the EPA 608 certification that is actually within one course in the electronics field, so that it kind of introduces refrigeration side of it, basically about safety in handling of refrigerants. A lot of places need the technician that can kind of have a general idea of what to do with any type of refrigeration or AC stuff. Even though there may be a electrical or electronics tech, they can actually pretty much electrically is the majority of most AC equipment anyway. So if they're able to check Freon N1 stuff or add refrigerants, fix leaks, anything like that, just some very basic stuff, that actually makes them a lot more desirable as far as competing in the job market. That is kind of a quick run through on to tell you all about kind of the courses and targeted plans to give y'all some more specifics on the type classes of what they would do. So in our background here, you can see basically what we call a NIDA lab. There's some PLCs on that back wall. PLCs, programmable logic controllers. They're kind of the brains of what operates a lot of automation. You see smart home technology today becoming more and more prevalent. That's kind of one of the things that is rapidly approaching entering the residential areas, using some more high-end technology as far as electronics in the home. And it will, in a few years, it'll probably be very common that almost everyone will wind up having these in their homes of some type or some form. May not be as advanced as others, but it's pretty much already here. People are already going into something as simple as their home air conditioning thermostat controls are now easily controlled by Wi-Fi, garage door openers. Just simple little aspects of their home are already easily being modified to where they can work everything from their phones. The big thing now that is being utilized where most everyone seems to have a cell phone or something that's Wi-Fi compatible somewhere in their homes is creating a still a geofencing, so your home recognizes when you're going away from your home to work or school, and recognizing when you return home for personal security system on your home, as well as the home recognizing when it needs to change settings in the home for lighting, heating and cooling, anything like that. And there'll be a tremendous market for that as far as people to install, service, and maintain these systems almost everywhere. The other side of this, like, is the general electricians. That is something that is in demand almost nationwide. We do have courses that cover the basics on something as simple as how to put a wall plug and a light switch in, change them out, how to actually go all the way through basically to wiring a home. Actually, in that class is one of the requirements is to draw out an electrical plan on a home sketch. That's actually, I believe some of the students there now are actually working on that course of how to sketch out a typical wiring design on a home. It's not as complex as it actually sounds once they understand the basics of what it takes to make it happen. Then they get into motor controls. Those are the type features that generally are located more in the industry side of it. Understanding like what a stop-start stations are, how they work, what motor starters do, the safety aspects of them, and all types of different sensors applications, much like I was talking about, like at Coastal, using piles of different sensor technology to identify what a machine needs to do. Then we get into the networking side. What you see in the background behind me, you'll notice like a switch cabinet with a pile of green wires in it. That is actually a typical switch for all these computers, and all those PLCs are networked together. Pretty much like the station I'm at, I should be able to control any one of those PLCs from here. That's a course that they learn how to identify that, where they can remotely access any type of equipment over the network. So it's kind of covers a lot of areas, and there's not many places where someone's going to have to do all those. It's more about choice of understanding how it all works, and then they have to pick out what works best for them, what their goals are, what kind of places they like. And a lot of times that's not always your first ideas, may not always be the one that you want to do. So you may have to look at changing and finding you a different field that you like as you kind of get out there and see what it's all about. That is kind of to give you a general run through of the course. I do also want to make a point too, to let y'all know I'm available to come anywhere. If any of you would rather see me in person, you're welcome to come here. We have an open door policy if you want to tour either campus, Greenville, or even not. It's about an hour drive away, but you're always welcome here. And this is where I'm at, and I can come to Greenville, to the high schools, or wherever you need me to come. I'll try to come there and help anyone with any information I can bring to them. So from there, kind of what questions could I answer for any of you?
Good morning, Mr. Teal.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Charlene Briggs, and I'm with Extension here in Butler County. And if I heard you correctly, did you say that the program is only currently on the OP campus and not the Greenville campus?
No, it's on the Greenville campus also. It's on both campuses.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. That's great. So do you have students that come in maybe in the 10th grade with dual enrollment and aren't sure where they want to start at this point?
That is the most common point at that age, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I tell a lot of the kids, I didn't know what I wanted to do after I graduated. So I definitely understand where they're at. It's actually dual enrollment. One of its biggest advantages, I believe, is to give them a chance to see what it really is. Me talking about it for a few minutes, or anyone telling them or showing them just a few minutes, is really not answering the question as clear as let them get in there and see what a class is all about. If they think they'll like it, they should definitely try it. And I generally always tell them to take a variety of classes. Don't assume that one class is the way the whole program is. That's the reason I was mentioning there's several different pathways. Like here, all total between Greenville and Opp, there's 5 instructors, and I don't think any 2 of us have very much in common as far as our pathways when we went out in our careers, but we all have the same degree from the same areas, and went out different pathways. And that's what we see with our students. A lot of them seem to like different things. My son was an example. I drug him around from the time he was big enough to ride with me when I was in the field, had my own business, and he did not like what I done at all. So he came, he actually was pursuing a health science plan, decided that was not for him, came back, took this program, and today works with a government contractor working on security systems and loves his job. So that's where he got to see that it's not always based on just what one person may see or their field. They may actually see something else that they enjoy, that is, you wouldn't think it would have anything in common with each other, but it's actually still the same thing. They still basically are going to learn how to use this test equipment, how to identify or troubleshoot problems, and figure it out from there. And it always changes. 10 years from now, there'll be something on the market that we don't know exists yet, but somebody's going to have to figure out how to work on it. And that's what we try to get all our students to be aware of, is you got to learn how to think to solve your problems.
You mentioned also Montgomery Technology. You mentioned Coastal and Hyundai. Do you have some type of relationship with them so that students that you're teaching basically what they want to see when someone leaves high school and maybe can work with them? So is there some type of relationship there?
We do. We actually have several different companies that we have some apprenticeships set up actually with some companies. Most of them are more kind of to the east or around Enterprise area and stuff. With Wayne Farms, actually, to give you the name of one, that has a pretty big apprenticeship with us, and Power South are 2 that actually have working apprenticeships. The companies there, Coastal Forestry Products, actually I have students now that are working at Coastal in production, but they're also attending school at the same time. So they're trying to basically promote inside the company. The Hyundai is constantly posting positions of all types. I always tell a lot of the folks it's a good idea to go in there, even no matter what the job is that you take. If you let them know that you're in school, they're much more inclined to try and put you in that position of where they know that you need to be learning how the machinery works. And it's a lot easier to work on something when you know what it's supposed to be doing normally. So that's one big advantage to being in a company prior to actually going into the maintenance positions. Hyundai is primarily, the students that they are getting are primarily putting them on robotics. That's actually one of the courses that we cover, is on some basic C++ programming, and yes, Scala programming is some of the main robots that we use. Generally, a robot is kind of one of those deals of whichever one you learn how to work on, they may be a little bit different, but if you didn't work on one, I tell folks, kind of like if you didn't work on a Ford, well, you didn't work on a Chevy. It's not that much difference. It's the same concepts. Shaw Industries, they are merging rapidly more into more robotics. Some of their stuff is actually 20 years ago, we'd said it looks like a Jetsons cartoon or whatever, to be walking around that plant, little robots coming by doing their own tasks, going up and down the little runways that they have for But that is actually becoming a very normal thing to see today. And they actually had made the comment here a few months back that they have now created positions that they didn't know would ever exist. So they're having to create a new position. Well, who's going to work on this robot or that robot or whatever its task may be. So the market is actually creating jobs that didn't exist just a few years ago. And our students are generally the ones that they're leaning towards. Montgomery Technology, they travel somewhat, going around different locations, installing security system stuff. That is something that's constantly being upgraded. Almost as soon as they come out one where they think of it, here's a better way to do a different version, or we found something that'll work easier or whatever, and they go in and modify wherever they have their systems installed at. Um, the contractors on that I was mentioning, like government contractors, generally they are looking for completed degrees and before they will hire. That's kind of the one big thing about them as far as getting in while you're in school. But several of the others, now the biggest thing about being dual enrollment and working is finding the companies that will employ people under 18. I've had that issue get brought up quite a few times, basically from OSHA standards that limits them on power tool use, how many steps up they can go on a ladder. There's a lot of little small stipulations, but there are places that will allow students to work there up between 16 and 18, just depending on what it is. Some of them actually have like they offer more on-site visitations, stuff like that, so that they can get in there and actually see stuff. They just limit them on what they can do. Shaw actually hired some, to give you an idea, that was very, I think, beneficial for them. It worked for a little while. Was they would actually have students go in and label equipment, putting new stickers on, like voltage identifications, stuff. It sounds like it's not much of a job, but that is an OSHA requirement that has to be done. So every time equipment's upgraded, it has to have a voltage identifications on it. Well, that's something the students were able to do, is go in and identify, check voltages, see exactly what everything was, and label them correctly for everyone working in the plant to be able to see. And I think it actually took them about a year and a half to get all the stickers on. So so I can use you an idea how big an operation that can turn out to be in some locations. And it just, like I said, it all depends on the company and what they can find for them to do if they're trying to work as dual enrollment students. But a lot of places now, the smaller electrical contractors, a lot of times are very good about hiring summer help. There's a lot of those that generally contact. It'll be a little small place that generally only hires one or something to kind of go. And that is a great experience for them to not only learn the field, but also the business aspects. One of the biggest things in anyone that's going to work in that area or like working in that area is getting to know how to work with people and deal with the public. So they learn a lot of business skills at the same time. And that is actually something that's very good for young folks today, is getting out there and learning what it's like to be in business for yourself, what you got to do to, it's not an issue. Well, I want to come in at 9. No, you told your customer you'd be there at 8. So that is actually a good thing to learn. And generally the smaller contractors are the best ones to hire just one person, and they can generally hire someone, between 16 and 18 typically.
Thank you. And to add to that, I recently was on a webinar with Alabama Works about the work-based learning program and how they're pushing more for companies to understand that they really can hire those 16 to 18-year-olds, without a problem. A lot of companies just aren't aware. They think that insurance they can't, but from my understanding that they can, and they just don't know it.
That is the biggest thing. I'm one of the OSHA trainers that we have here, and that's actually where OSHA is where a lot of their concerns comes from. And it's generally not that complex once they know what the rules are. It's generally just about issues about about fall protection and power tools. It's generally the only two things that they have to watch. And a lot of times in some of these fields, that's not really like in general industry. A lot of times they may not even have a reason to actually use a ladder much. So, depending on what it is, most everything may actually be on the floor. And the other side of it, as far as the tools and stuff, some of it is not all power tools. A lot of it's just basic hand tools and stuff that actually has to get done. And I know in being in business, just having a helper that's there to kind of assist you with a lot of things is worth a lot more than what people realize. And that's where a lot of these students actually benefit from, is they're right there in it, getting to see it. They may not be the one putting their hands on every detail, but they actually get to see exactly what it's got to do so that they can do it. Learning by example, watching each person do a task, and then one day they can migrate into being the one that's doing it soon.
Thank you.
And like I said, if there's any, to me, a lot of the students right now, and especially even seniors, they generally are still kind of the next big thing is spring breaks coming soon. So that's what's on a lot of folks' mind. Then of course it's proms or graduation and stuff like that. Whenever during the summertime or something, if anyone wants to get up with me, I'm on campus all the time, summers and all. So if any student, parent, anyone that's just got questions, family members, or just someone being curious about it, would like to know more about any of this, feel free to always get up with us and let's talk about it, what their plans are. And we'll see kind of what we can put together. We generally run like classes summers also. There is a pretty big gap between the spring and summer. So if someone's not sure if they may want to come in the summer, we actually have had students that started in the summer after they finished the 9th grade. The biggest thing I would say about a student that's going to start that young is just kind of tell them it all depends on what they want to do. If they do not want to do it themselves, I recommend the parents don't push them. The ones that want to do it always do exceptionally well, regardless of age. Our program is a little more math dominant than some programs, but it's not bad. It's about like pre-algebra. So about 8th grade math or so, 8th, 9th grade, something in that range is plenty enough. It's just some basic introductory stuff is about the hardest math that's in it. So if they can do that, they'll definitely be fine. As far as challenging. Now, the academic courses that go along with it, English 101, for example, I don't know that I would recommend a student taking that at a real early age. I would kind of pace that with what is expected. I believe that's typically about an 11th grade English level course. Or for a student that's wanting to take and get both credits, high school and that. So that may not, some of those might be where they may need a little more time. And that just depends on the counselors to know the student as to what they feel like they're capable of. They're on Greenville. All these academic courses, of course, are on Greenville or online, either one. We actually do have some online courses ourselves. If there's this person that maybe they'd like to take a class or two in the summer, but they've got some plans, maybe they got some sports activities or band that they're concerned with that interfering with. We do have some online courses that they may be able to take and can kind of work in on their time. If they want to try that, that's definitely something that's an option also. It is, and I know I don't want to run into someone else's time block here, but I will say that right now the demand for these graduates has been incredible for years. I think we've been running 100% placement for I don't know how long. I almost feel bad when some of these places call me in aspects of wanting to hire someone. I tell them I don't have any available right now. I think I could put 5 to work today. was Post-it notes that stuck on my desk to people wanting to hire as soon as they can. The demand just continues to keep growing, and we need to produce as many as we possibly can. So a student that's thinking that that they don't know what they want to do, another thing I always tell them, we'll go through the help wanted ads and see what kind of jobs are out there. Don't go take a thing and spend $50,000 on a degree or something that you can't get a job for. Not criticizing a lot of the 4-year schools, but it is amazing. I actually have one student now that's got a master's degree that's came back to do this because of having a hard time finding a job in his field that pays enough to meet what he's looking for. So that is the number one thing for any kid to look at today that's in high school is, where can I go get a job and make a good living? Okay, folks, I appreciate y'all's time. And like I said, if there's any way I can answer anyone's question, just give me a call, shoot me an email, or I'll try to meet with you anywhere.
My name is Corey Wiggins. I'm an instructor here at LBW with Industrial Electronics. We have got some new equipment in recently to teach the students how to do basic circuitry and go into more advanced circuitry. This teaches them the basics, how to use a multimeter, how to use an oscilloscope, and a function generator. We have several different circuits in. We'd like the students in Butler County, especially and surrounding counties, to know that this is offered for them. This is can turn into a good paying job, and you can start it in high school. The benefit to this is you're not having to pay tuition while you're in high school for it, and you can start when you're in the 10th grade according to Butler County guidelines, and start your college courses, and possibly by the end of your high school education, graduation, you could have an associate's degree or at least a short certificate in industrial electronics. If you don't complete it, you'll be way ahead as far as tuition wise, money wise, and education wise, to be a success in the workforce in this area. We have almost 100% job placement in this course, so this is a life-changing thing. We're excited to offer this at LBW.
My name is Cody Lee, and I go to McKenzie High School, and I'm enrolled in LBW and industrial electronics. This class is fun because we get to learn a lot of things that we could use in this trade if we want to pursue it. And we've learned different types of math that goes with it, and how to make measurements and the right way to do things. And we've learned wrong ways too, because we messed up. And this is a fun class. Just there's good people in here, and it's fun.
Hi, I'm Terry Cook. I'm currently enrolled in industrial electronics class here at LBW. I'm doing dual enrollment through the high school, which is a very great thing because I can knock out college credits and high school credits while still being in high school. I really enjoy this program. Like Cody said, there's plenty of nice, fun people in this class. It is a fun class to come to. I don't dread having to get up early in the morning to come to this class. I actually enjoy it because this is hopefully a career I can pursue in my future. I do want to finish here and keep going with this program even after I graduate high school.